and gentlemen, in the last 9 months, India has seen 5 major rail accidents. There are even other mishaps just in this duration. But we are only looking at the big 5 train tragedies since October 2023, in fact, since June 2023. What explains this? Is life this cheap? Railway finances is not a problem in India, experts say. Then what is? Today, as several coaches of Chandigarh-Dibrugarh Express train derailed in Uttar Pradesh's Gonda, several were critically injured, rushed for medical help. If we can have the visuals fullscape, 3 passengers have died. The coach's survivors say were full of dust for a few minutes with loud shouts and screams as the coaches derailed. My colleague Adib joins us right now. All right, Adib, my question to you, Adib, where are you right now? I'm told you are at the hospital. What is the situation around you?
Sneha, right now I'm in the Gonda district hospital where around 8 patients, those who have some serious injuries, they have been admitted. I just spoke to Gonda Divisional Commissioner and he has confirmed that 3 people have lost their life, 3 passengers have lost their life in this fatal incident that has taken place in Mankapur area of Gonda, in which around 10 to 12 compartments of Dibrugarh Express were affected. What I saw from the ground was that around 3 to 4 compartments that were the AC compartments. They were totally overturned in this incident, and as I was on the spot, one can imagine the impact, the kind of impact it must have when the train have derailed. The train was completely off the track. The tracks were not at their place, and one can clearly say that it was a major incident that has taken place in Gonda. Right now, we are in the Gonda district hospital. The treatment of those who have critically injured in this is going on in this particular hospital. The GM of Railway, the other senior district administration officers have just visited these patients. They have given instructions to the hospital administration for the speedy treatment, ensuring that they get the best treatment here in Gonda itself.
Right, Adib, some big concerns coming at this point, Adib. Can you tell us specifically, is there any reason that we know at this point? Do we know what caused this derailment? Have officials a preliminary investigation? I'm sure the police, the railway police would be on the ground. Any preliminary reports on what caused this derailment for 10 to 12 coaches to just derail?
Well, see, Sneha, what we heard from the passengers, those who were present at the spot, is that they heard some kind of explosion right before when the train derailed, but it's the theory that is being put up by the passengers. The official inquiry in this case has already been started by the railway officials. In fact, I just had a word with the senior official of Northeastern Railway. She's saying that the highest level inquiry has been started. The chief of Railway Commission Safety has started their investigation. They are saying that it's too early to come to any conclusion as of now what led to the derailment of the train, but they are saying that we are doing every possible thing to ensure that the track is restored. Those who have suffered in this incident receive best treatment, and the work is going on to restore that particular section where this train has derailed. The GM has also confirmed that the train are moving. The train, those who are diverted, are moving from another route, that is the loop route, and the train is moving from that side. Basically, the movement is very slow at this time, but they are ensuring that the train movement continues. And as far as this particular train section is concerned, they are saying that it will take some more hours to clear off the track and restore the rail network.
Adib, thank you very much for joining us. This is just 1 month since the Kanchenjunga train crash in Darjeeling. involving a goods train and a passenger train. A goods train ignored multiple red signals. One of the automatic signal was faulty since morning, and a wrong communication was issued to the loco pilot of the goods train. A wrong communication. The probe has found that inadequate permissions were issued to loco pilots on accident day. The loco pilot, by the way, has died in the accident along with 9 others. Crucial instructions such as enforcing speed limits on trains were not explicitly stated while allowing movement on routes where automatic signaling had failed. That's what the probe report had found. It said that there was inadequate counseling of loco pilots and station masters about train operations in automatic signaling territory, creating misinterpretation and misunderstanding of rules. There were 5 other trains also at the same time in the same section when the signals actually turned defective. We're going to be looking at 3 more cases, but remember, we are not revisiting these cases. We are not just recalling these instances. We are actually looking at the big lapses in each of these incidents. Remember the Balasore, Odisha, one of the worst in possibly 3 decades, involving 3 trains. The Coromandel Express continued straight on the main line, but it was wrongly switched to the parallel loop line at full speed, where it collided with a stationary goods train laden with iron ore. As a result of this, 21 coaches of the Coromandel Express derailed from the main line. However, 3 of the 21 derailed coaches rammed into the adjacent track and hit the trail end coaches of the Bengaluru-Howrah Express, resulting in India's worst railway disaster. As I mentioned, almost in 3 decades, 290 plus people were killed in this, and over 900 were injured. Eventually, it was found that it was an error in the electronic signaling that caused the crash. The error caused change in electronic interlocking. The railway lines were not equipped with Kavach system. Similar signaling error reported in February 2023 in the same line. Few months after that, in October 2023, 2 passenger trains collided in Andhra Pradesh. The train passed 2 defective auto signals violating norms. East Coast Railway stated that there was a human error caused by overshooting the signal. Driver, assistant, and the driver were watching a cricket match on phone, is what the initial probe suggests. But that was ultimately removed because there was no evidence which was found, particularly even as the phone records were traced and all of that was analyzed as well. Train passed 2 defective auto signals violating norms. It could have been because of faulty automatic signal. The East Coast Railway, though, said human error caused by overshooting of signal. Now, these are some instances which we have brought out to just show you what kind of lapses have been involved in these big tragedies. 2022 CAG report, an important CAG report, a CAG report said, multiple fault lines have been exposed. Critical shortfall in inspections that are actually supposed to look and inspect the strength, the durability, the structural conditions of the tracks and other associated factors. Deficiency in maintenance of tracks, bad piloting, overspeeding. Bad piloting, technical word is bad driving and overspeeding. Failure to submit inquiry reports after accidents. Failure to use dedicated railway fund. No foolproof system of learning from mistakes. These are some of the very, very significant findings in the CAG report. Tonight, we are asking some big questions. We're going to be looking at 5 big questions. And if we can have that up on our screens as well. Is poor maintenance plaguing the railways. Is there acute lack of accountability? Why are automatic signals failing repeatedly? Is it understaffed, underbriefed, and underworked railway staff? A reality, and what's being done about it? The CAG report on funding, has it been ignored? Why are automatic signals failing, as I mentioned earlier? And are there systemic issues that need to be dealt with? I'm going to be joined right now by experts as well as political spokespersons, because accountability needs to be fixed. I'm being joined by Akhil Agrawal, who's an ex-director general for the Railway Board. Sudhanshu Mani, who's a retired general manager, Indian Railways, and creator of Vande Bharat. I'm also being joined by Dolly Sharma, who's a Congress spokesperson, as well as Manish Bariyar, who's a political analyst. Thank you very much, all four of you, for joining us. All right, if I can first go to you, Mr. Akhil Agrawal. Mr. Akhil Agrawal, there's panic, there's chaos. Loved ones are trying to find out details of what's happened to their relatives, to their family members who would be on that train. Significant hours have passed. Some of them are still trying to get details from different parts of India. My question at this point is, accidents and railway accidents have been recurring in the history of India. But can that be an excuse for this to continue? Do Indians need to live with this as a reality? Is this our reality?
Let me first tell you that it is very unfortunate that in the recent past, the number of train accidents have increased. We have seen the increase in the accidents, and then it has come down in India 2018, 19, 20. It was continuously falling. Unfortunately, in last 1 year, and particularly last 6-7 months, it has increased. There are a spate of accidents, and it's high time that the railway board must analyze the causes of the accidents. Every accident, individual causes are always analyzed. Every accident is analyzed. There is a commissioner of railway safety which gives its report. The recommendations are gone by the railway board, and then most of the recommendations are accepted and implemented. But this continuous spate of accidents which is happening is unfortunate, and I am sure that in the railway board they must be putting their head together and trying to find out the reasons for this. There is in railways there is a very strong system of maintenance. There is a very strong system of any unusual which happens. These are some of the accidents which are known to the public. Besides that, unusuals happens on every week, every daily and unusual happens. And there is a very strong and a very set procedure to analyze those unusuals, the reasons why it has happened, and what action should be taken so that it does not happen. And also, if someone is responsible for this, the action should be taken against the staff concerned. So this is I am sure that railway must be putting their head together and trying to find out the reason for this.
Okay. If I can come to, in fact, Mr. Mani, if you could give me a few minutes, let me just quickly go across to a political spokesperson, because what has been said right now is very important. Manish Bariyar, to you first. You heard the expert here on our panel. He said cases dropped 2017, 18, 19, but over the last 1 year, particularly 6 months, cases have been on the rise. Who's responsible for this, sir?
See, first of all, my condolences to the family. It's a very sad event, but this is something which is, your questions are very pertinent. I think the answer lies in what, the gentleman, and with due respect to him, the way he said, if you look at railways in general, the entire management mindset is more about fault finding and it's more about punishment. I don't see any kind of a one family working towards a certain service or that service orientation, what we call, is missing in railways. And I think, the lack of accountability is also there. Had this happened somewhere else, let's take up like in Britain or somewhere else, you would have found that the entire railway board would have been sacked, and maybe in fact, the railway minister also would have gone. But I have not seen this happening in last 50, 60 years, except what we saw with Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri doing it, and even Mr. Nitish Kumar. Barring these two ministers, I don't recall anyone actually taking a stand as such, where they say, okay, I'm responsible for it. So if you look at, I'm speaking more like a concerned citizen. If you look at from political divide either ways, I don't think anybody takes accountability. So that's one. The second part is that, railway is lacking technical aspect also. I'm sure the other gentlemen can point out. Again, if you go back to some of the developed nations, there are systems in which the moment you were talking about signaling, the moment a train crosses or finds something wrong with the signaling system, the train automatically stops. Or if the speed goes up, the train stops. Okay. So there is a deep malaise which goes beyond political divide, and I feel that it is time for the entire political setup to look at railways from that point of view and give respect to the Indian lives. That matters a lot. That is what, in my opening statement, I would say.
Dolly Sharma, do you agree with what Manish Bariyar is saying, Dolly Sharma? Do you see the fact that the accountability needs to be with the railway board, and politically nobody is accountable across political lines?
No, I think everybody should be held accountable. Like he said that earlier, we have seen Lal Bahadur Shastri ji and other minister also, Nitish ji also resigned because of this. So today what we are seeing is, first of all, I would like to, say that the incident is really saddening, and may the soul rest in peace. All what has happened is very, very sad, and this is not the first time that has happened. This is the second incident in past 1 month that has happened. Very saddening, very disheartening. But I think the railway minister should focus more on railways rather than reels. This is first thing that I would like to say. And second thing, I have few questions that I would like to ask. First is, why has the railways Kavach security system been able to cover only 1% of the railway tracks so far? If you do not have the means to install Kavach system on all the railway tracks, then why the Prime Minister, after increasing the number of bullet trains and 250 kilometers per hour high-speed trains, instead of upgrading the Kavach system? And third question is, despite frequent rail accidents, why did the Indian government spend rupees 1 lakh crore on bullet trains instead of spending it on the rail safety? Fourth question is, why was the allocation for track renewal limited?
Let me just try and get, you're raising questions, you're just adding to the questions, because frankly, we are trying to look for answers here. No, we are trying to see where the accountability can be fixed. We're trying to look for where the answers are. So since you've raised these questions,
there are 3 lakh jobs.
Right. So while you're raising these questions, these are,
in the railways, why they are not filling them up? We have questions and we need to ask the government, because this is not the first time. There are many, many incidents, You look at this. I have the paper. How many incidents? You're talking about 5, but if we go back to the past 5 years, you look at how many incidents has happened. So we need to ask the government. We need to hold somebody accountable, and why not the rail minister? Why the railway budget is merged into
Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, before I come to you, and because the railway board has been spoken about so much, give me 30 seconds. Let me just spend time, and if we can have the graphics of the railway board up. It's an apex body of the Indian Railways, responsible for formulation of policies and so many other aspects of the Indian Railway. It's responsible for the overall governance of the rail links, and if we can have the graphics up, please. The board is headed by a chairman, and the chairman is also the principal technical advisor to the railway minister on rail safety. So it comes under the railway ministry, as it were. 9 commissioners of the railway safety are under the chairman, and the chairman oversees 17 zonal areas. Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, one of the political analysts on our panel, he initially started off with saying railways doesn't work like one big family. I don't understand this point. Do you want to spend a minute? Is this the reality? I mean, how can a railway, I mean, you know, you won't say private companies working as one big family. Professional relationships are relationships. They're not meant to be a family. You know what I mean to say, sir? Please go ahead.
First, let me make a correction. The commissioners of railway safety do not work under the chairman. They work under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. They are independent of railways. Now, your question is, why does railway not work as a family? Was that your question? That why is railway
that's what the panelists said
professionally?
Yeah, I mean, is it even expected to be work as a family? I mean, it's supposed to act professionally. I mean, if people say that Indian Railways doesn't work like a big family, do you even see that as justifiable criticism? Because frankly, no one cares about that. All one needs to know is whether the professional things are in place.
Well, family is a term used for teamwork. So to that extent, I do not object to the use of the word family. Since there are so many verticals in railways, which we call departments, they must work cohesively and professionally, and it has to be a teamwork. So I agree. It has been known to have good teamwork all along, but there is definitely a scope of improvement. And I should say, yes, all departments, all railwaymen must work professionally. There's no doubt about it. That's to address your very pointed question, but what else can I tell you?
Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, when this Kavach system comes, every time everybody points at the Kavach system, I just want to understand a very basic thing. It's seen as an anti-collision mechanism, but is it only an anti-collision mechanism? Because frankly, even communication is a very integral part of it. So whether, if it's not collisions, if it were, even derailments and other aspects of the entire railway system also should be covered or would be covered under the Kavach system, then why isn't Kavach system a reality? If indeed it can transform the way how the railway services its people with safety.
Well, I'll come to derailment later, but Kavach in the form it is being developed today or has been developed today is not a mere anti-collision system. That's one feature of the system. It's a comprehensive signaling system. Comparable to the modern signaling system in use in Europe. And it's much cheaper. Now, whether we are fully confident of its reliability is a separate subject, but we, in our position, we don't know. 3 years back, the Minister of Railways announced that they will go for Kavach all over the country and they will not go for any imported system. Fair enough. It is indigenous, it is cheaper, and it is our own product. That would have should have propelled railways to install Kavach at a much faster speed than they have been able to do till now. In fact, they have not been able to add anything since that announcement. It's only that 1460 odd kilometers in South Central Railway. On the other hand, if railways have doubt about the product, and that's one of the reasons why rollout is slow, then we cannot afford that doubt. You can continue with Kavach, let it mature, and meanwhile, in certain select sections, you should bring in a more comprehensive imported system. So I really don't know what is the level of confidence of Rail Ministry, but the way it is being rolled out, it does not show that they are very confident of it, or the focus and commitment to execute is definitely lacking. That's what I would say. About derailment,
Akhil Agrawal, what would you say to what Mr. Mani is saying? Akhil Agrawal, it's very interesting what Mr. Mani is saying, because Mr. Mani is saying that there could be two aspects to the slow rollout of Kavach. One, the government is not sure about Kavach as a system. Two, there's lack of political will. What do you think is the answer?
Is the question directed to me?
That's right, sir. Please.
Okay. I am not very sure whether it is correct to say at this point of time that the government is not very clear about the Kavach system. As far as my information is that the Ministry of Railway is planning to provide Kavach system on the entire system and to start entire Indian railway system. And to start with, they have selected high-speed route because they are the most vulnerable route. So Delhi, Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta are the two routes where they have started working on the cover system, and it is the work is in progress. What Mr. Mani has said, I agree with that. That so far about 1,500 odd kilometers have been provided, and it is working. But about the functioning of the cover system, there is something called safety integrated level. It is certified by a standard assessors, and the cover system has been certified as a SIL 4, which is the highest level of safety. So as far as the working of the as far as the safety aspect of the cover system is concerned, there is no doubt about that. What he says, reliability. Reliability, we will only come to know once it is provided, though
Right.
it has been provided in 1,500 odd kilometers and it is functioning. But yes, when it will be provided on Delhi, Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta section, then there will be the real test of the cover system. And I'm sure that after the initial hiccup, it should pass the test. But let me also tell you,
Well,
the cover system is
initial
not
hiccup,
meant.
they should pass.
Sorry. I just wanted to
Is
add
not
on this
meant?
thing that the cover system is not meant for detecting the derailments. The cover system is the extended arm of the signaling system. And at present, we do not have, we have not provided any aid to the driver. Once we provide a cover system, we provide a aid to the driver that in case if driver does not stop on a red signal, if driver does not slow down his train, the cover system will apply the brake and the train will stop.
But that's such an important feature, Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, because look at the lapses that happen in at least the last 3 big accidents, the rail accidents. And that clearly, according to the probe reports, not the preliminary probe reports, the final probe reports purely pointed out at error, about faulty signals and overshooting signals, the automatic signal malfunctioning. Now, if we are talking about Kavach system assisting the pilots or the rail drivers, as it were, to be able to go ahead and protect it if it overshoots the signal, this is a big thing. This is, I mean, I fail to understand in India today why this is not becoming a reality faster.
So yeah, so we have come back to the same issue. I agree with you. Mr. Agrawal also said that there may be some hiccups. Agreed, but the pace at which it is being rolled out is abysmally slow. There's no doubt about it. Um, then there is the issue of whether you talked about the accountability. It's usually passed down to the lowest level of staff. It is done in every inquiry. That's true. Let's talk of the Kanchenjunga accident. The sixth train violated the norms and hit against the fifth train, which was the Kanchenjunga, or six or seven. But the CRS report says that practically every train followed its own pattern, which means the counseling of the staff, training of the staff was not done properly. Even those who training are perhaps not clear. That is why the authorities which were given to be given in case of signal failures were ambiguous and not very accurate, which is being revised now. This is, of course, a systemic failure, points to the management, not to lower level staff. Lower level staff cannot be absolved, certainly, but points to a systemic failure, as I said. This also points that this was not something that happened that day. It must have been happening in other cases of signal failure also. So there have been, I don't know, a large number of near misses before there was an accident. Why are these near misses getting undetected, or perhaps detected and put under the carpets, whatever? So use of technology such that all near misses are not missed has to be done. It cannot be left to human intelligence anymore. First of all, the data is massive. It may not be very easy to find for human brain. And secondly, there would always be a tendency to ignore. So I think technology should be used also, that all these near misses are analyzed and a safety culture is built up so that these accidents are reduced.
Right. Manish Barrier, back to you again. It's Modi government 3.0. Modi government has promised, and it's come back to power with that promise yet again of Amrit Kal. The Amrit Kal has to have a reality where these train accidents have been only on a decline. The panelists here, experts like Mr. Akhil Agrawal have said they have only been on a rise. Do you think the railway minister now owes it to the nation to come out and give a very, very clear explanation?
I think so. I think he's the head of the department, and he owes it to the nation to really, come up and explain why these kind of derailments are happening on a regular basis. But I would also like to add that everything is not so gloomy, Sneha, as far as Indian Railways is concerned. If you look at data of 2010, there were around 350 derailments in our country on an average. Now, if you look at 2022, 23, 24, and this is not to justify what has been happening, for God's sake, because human lives are involved in that. But now the number of derailments are around 15. So that's a massive, massive improvement. And all these, expert gentlemen would know that government in 2017-18, there's something called Rashtriya Rail Suraksha Kosh. And there's around 1 lakh crore has been put in for 5 years for track renewals, signaling protocols, and so many other things. And also, just to add, our infrastructure is 19th, 20th century, that kind of infrastructure we are looking at. All these tracks are working on more than 100% capacity. And if you look at the massive number of, goods trains and trains for, passengers, which goes, if you look at only from the data point of view, in terms of percentage, I think the safety levels of, trains would actually go higher than even the aeroplanes. So it's not so bad, but yes, why not? Accountability is important. And for every customer, it is important that they move from one place to another place safe. And this has been happening for regular intervals for a long period of time. India deserves better, for sure.
Okay. Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, would you very quickly respond to that? Do you think he is correct when he says from 300 to 400 derailments, it's down to 15?
Well, the numbers have come down. There's no doubt about it. I don't exactly know the numbers, so I cannot say yes or no to that. But numbers have come down. You see, look at the fatalities. Fatalities used to be in the region of 500 to 600 per year about 10 years back. And it is down. If you leave aside that Balasore sore, then the fatality again you will find is only in the region less than 50. So, and it has not happened because of any magic. It has happened because, number one, all unmanned level crossings have been eliminated. 40% accident used to take place on level crossings.
That's important.
They have
yes.
all been manned, or overbridge, underbridge have been built.
Yes.
Track maintenance has been improved by attaching more importance to it. Track renewal work has improved. So this all has improved the situation. And what is very relevant is, it is irrelevant to talk of Raksha Kosh. Raksha Kosh and all that was important when the capex of railways was in the range of 30,000, 40,000 crores. So 1 lakh crores over 5 years made some meaning. Today, the capex is 2.6 lakh crores. So fund is not a problem, whether it comes from the Kosh or it comes from any other source. It doesn't matter. Money is not a problem at all. It's all a question of focus on safety, focus on track upgradation. And that will definitely lead to safety. And as I said, use of technology to detect every near miss. There is a lot of information, a mine of information in that which we have to use to our advantage.
Dolly Sharma? What would you say to Dolly Sharma? What would you say to what Manish Barrier as well as Mr. Mani and Mr. Akhil have said? That they're saying not everything else is gloomy. The focus needs to be on reducing the near misses as well, but it's not all so gloomy.
No, I only have to say one thing, that people are losing lives. we are continuously seeing these incidents happening and people are losing lives. The matter is subject to investigation, and I think the railway minister should be held accountable. He should, like I said earlier, he should focus on the railways rather than reels. This is what I want to say, because continuously the incidents those are happening in every part of the country are sad and they shouldn't repeat. I think we should focus more on railways. This is what I would like to say.
All right, I think 2024, there's one thing that Modi government 3.0 should do, and that is send out a very clear message that their intent is absolutely strong in ensuring that what's been happening in the Indian Railways doesn't continue so, and that's something that the experts in our panel have also spoken about. Thank you very much, all four of you, for joining us. Manish Barrier, Dolly Sharma, Akhil Agrawal, and Sudhanshu Mani. I just hope that we would be meeting next time to only look at what the Indian Railways has done to improve and how it has managed to evade accidents than people dying in all of it. Thank you very much.